AEW Dynamite for February the 24th, 2021. Big news today, and I mean big literally. The Big Show, Paul Wight, is now part of All Elite Wrestling. I have to tell you guys, I was not expecting that. I did not think Big Show would end up in AEW. I thought he was a WWE lifer. Jeff Meacham sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jeff. He's a bit under the weather. He says, just wanted to show support before the cold meds kick in. Have a fun show, everyone. Good night. Thank you for that, Jeff. Make sure you guys follow the Jeff Meacham Network. Search for it on YouTube or head over to nodq.com/Jeff. And I do have a super chat from Oofman that I missed on Raw. I will read that off at the end regarding Paige. I will also give my thoughts on Adam Cole's promo and segment at the end of this week's NXT. Other than that, I did not see any of NXT, so I will be focusing strictly on AEW Dynamite. But what do you guys in the chat think about Paul Wight being in AEW? Other than the surprise of it, I think it can lead to some interesting matchups. Could we see Big Show versus Shaq? Could we see Paul Wight versus Luchasaurus or Lance Archer or even Sting, a throwback to WCW? There's quite a few matches he can do. He's going to be doing commentary for the time being on this additional YouTube show that AEW will be producing, a show that will be like an extension of AEW Dark. Big Show will be doing commentary with Tony Schiavone. Hamp Kana with the $2 super chat says, there goes Big Show's spot in the WWE Hall of Fame. Yeah, at least for now, but who's to say 5 years from now? He might go in then. It's definitely possible. Maybe Big Show will be a contestant on the Go Big Show. You never know. Steve-O says it's interesting and definitely did not see it coming. And Mark Matthews brings up Big Show versus Marco Stunt. Hey, there you go. I'd be fine with that. Hold on a second here. So let's go ahead and talk about the AEW Dynamite show. We kicked off with Jon Moxley versus Ryan Nemeth. You could call him Ryan Ziegler. Pretty much a squash match, showcase for Jon Moxley. And after the match, he cut a promo to hype up the Revolution pay-per-view. He said that he will do whatever it takes to get back on top. And he said that he leaves his soul in the ring every single night. And Kenny Omega is just another guy on a long list of guys that have tried to take him out. Win, lose, or draw, he will give the people everything he has. And then we had a recap shown of their history going back to the first AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, in 2019, and then the footage from Full Gear all the way leading up to Winter is Coming, when you had Moxley get screwed out of the AEW Championship. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. He says, Sting or Big Show, which was more shocking of a signing? Definitely Big Show. I felt Sting was going to AEW. Once his Legends contract ran out, I figured there was a good chance he was going to end up in AEW. Big Show pretty much just came out of left field. Big Show was at Raw Legends night, and he just felt like one of those guys. He was with WWE for over 20 years. He seemed like one of those guys that would always be there. He would retire in WWE, go into the Hall of Fame, maybe become a coach at the PC. But I guess Big Show, to use a phrase from Mark Henry, he still has some gas left in the tank. Big Show was even part of the last match at WrestleMania last year, although Anderson and Gallows were part of the Boneyard match and they were released from the company. But apparently there was some kind of issue with WWE and Big Show over finances, and I guess Tony Khan made Big Show a good offer, and there you go. Big Show is now part of AEW. And I still think he will go into the Hall of Fame one day. All right, so back to Dynamite. We had the Young Bucks arriving with their parents. And then we had a tag team match. We had the Varsity Blondes, Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison against Brian Cage and Ricky Starks with Taz on commentary. I'm really liking the Varsity Blondes, but right now they're still in the enhancement talent mode. They get some offense. Garrison looked good in this match, but then Team Taz got the upper hand. Pillman Jr. got powerbombed into the ring post, and Cage ended up pinning Pillman with the screwdriver finisher of his. And then after the match went to a finish, we had a video play on the big screen of Darby Allin being dragged through the desert. However, it was Sting driving the vehicle, and Allin popped out of the body bag with his TNT championship. And then we cut back to the ringside area. Sting arrived with a body bag, and inside the body bag was Hook, Taz's son. Then he pointed up to the rafters, and Darby Allin took a page out of Sting's book. He came down from the rafters on a zip line, coming all the way down into the ring. He had his skateboard. He used his skateboard as a weapon. Sting got some payback on Brian Cage, hitting the Stinger Splash and a Scorpion Death Drop. Pretty good segment here. The Space Force One Reddit user who has been spoiling AEW shows, interestingly enough, he was right about the zip line, but he said it was Sting that went down the zip line, and it was actually Darby Allin. Not sure what that was about, but he did spoil the zip line part of it at least. I did like the segment, nice build up for the pay-per-view. We had Tony Schiavone interviewing Kip Sabian and Miro along with Penelope Ford, talking about the wedding being crashed by Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. You had Kip saying that it was supposed to be the best day of their lives. Miro responded by saying that he's going to get his hands on Orange Cassidy. However, Chuck Taylor, he likes him, and Chuck could still come back into the fold. But then some guy off camera came on to the screen and handed Tony Schiavone a note. Basically, Cassidy and Chuck were challenging Miro and Kip Sabian to a match at the Revolution pay-per-view, and Miro thought that this was really childish, and he wanted Charles to basically be a man and come back to the fold. But later on, it was officially confirmed this match will be taking place at the Revolution pay-per-view. I still do not care about Miro. I really don't. And the only finish I could see in this match maybe is Chuck Taylor goes heel, turns against Orange Cassidy. Even Orange Cassidy, I feel, has cooled off quite a bit. Remember how hot he was over the summer? And now he barely makes a presence on these shows. And Miro really doesn't make much of a presence at all. I'm hopeful they'll do some kind of big angle. Really, though, I think Miro needs to get away from Kip Sabian if he's going to have any chance of salvation in AEW. But what do you do with Orange Cassidy at this point? He's just there. Steve-O says Miro needs to separate himself from Kip, and I agree about Orange. Yeah, the problem right now is AEW's roster is so bloated it's hard for anybody to really stand out, and this storyline just isn't cutting it for me. I feel bad for both of them. Orange Cassidy, because he was doing really well in the summer. He had a lot of momentum, but it feels like that has stalled. And Miro, he's never really gotten out of the gate. Outside of the first week in AEW, he's barely made any kind of an impact whatsoever. We had Jake Hager versus Brandon Cutler. Cutler barely appears on Dynamite these days. And I agree with Nick Glavin in the chat room. Orange needs fans. Orange Cassidy, he's one of those guys, and I've said it before, that is being affected by the pandemic. If we had the full crowds, that would really help Orange Cassidy. Maybe later this year he'll be able to get back into the swing of things and regain his momentum. But then again, if it's a novelty act, he's gonna get stale at some point, so we'll have to see if Orange Cassidy continues to evolve the character or not. Brandon Cutler versus Jake Hager. I mean, the match itself, not much to say about it. Again, glorified squash match. Hager picked up the win. Inner Circle arrived afterwards and attacked Cutler. Young Bucks came out to make the save. But then we had the angle where Chris Jericho and MJF were backstage, and they attacked Papa Buck, the Young Bucks' father. They beat the crap out of him. He was bleeding. They threw him into the production truck that had Matt and Nick's likeness on it, and then they fled the scene in a car. They sped away, and Papa Buck ended up being taken away in an ambulance. Not a bad angle. I thought it was fine. Did not blow me away or anything. I've seen better angles where a family member gets attacked, but it was all right. It was fine. Moving on here, we had a video package for the Shaquille O'Neal match, which is next week. I have to say, this has also been disappointing build. Like, we haven't seen any footage of Shaq training. We saw that footage last week of him playing basketball with Jade. And then this week we just got a video package. Yeah, I'm not really that hyped up about this tag team match. I guess we'll see what Shaq can do next week if he can have a respectable performance. I'm hoping he will. I'm hoping he will exceed expectations. Mine are actually quite low at the moment. We then had Hangman Adam Page versus Isaiah Cassidy. Big Money Matt was at ringside, and during the match, the referee got distracted by TH2. They were on the outside of the ring, and while this was happening, Matt grabbed Page's foot as he was attempting the buckshot lariat, and then Matt threw Page arm first into the ring post, but then Silver and Reynolds from the Dark Order, or the Light Order, whatever you want to refer to them as, they made their presence felt, and they told the referee what Matt was up to, and the ref believed them. Matt Hardy was kicked out of the arena, and then after the commercial, the match went back and forth for a while, but Page did pick up the victory with the Deadeye, which he doesn't win with too often. I like the little change with the victory, with the different move. And then after the match, we had Adam Page cut a promo and talk about how he's going to, Matt Hardy, not Page. Matt Hardy cut this promo off camera saying that he was going to hurt Page and every member of the Dark Order. And then Matt appeared up on the stage with number 5, took number 5 and threw him off the stage through a table. Build-up was fine, but I really don't care much about this match. Matt Hardy, I'm still not feeling the Big Money Matt character. just feels like filler to me. Adam Page, if they're trying to build him up to be something special, he needs to be moving on to bigger and better things. Hopefully after Revolution, we'll see Page get back into the upper card. And Matt, I felt like he should have been doing the broken gimmick this whole time or something similar, but yeah, he's not doing it. He's doing the old big money Matt gimmick from Impact Wrestling. We had Kenny Omega making his only appearance on the show in an interview segment. He was in some workshop, and Don Callis was there. Alex Marvez was interviewing them, and Callis basically said that they were working on the Jon Moxley Extermination Chamber. Interesting choice of words. And that's to set up the barbed wire match, the exploding barbed wire match at the pay-per-view. And Wonka TV agrees with me about Big Money Matt not working for him at all. But Steve-O is liking the Money Matt and Page feud. So there you go. We had a recap of all the tournament matches for the women's Eliminator tournament. And we had Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. This was actually a really good match. Maybe the best match of the show. This match and the main event were really good. Britt Baker and Nyla Rose back and forth here. Britt was getting frustrated at the beginning. She actually went to the outside of the ring and was throwing things around. She finally got back into the match, and she went after the arm of Nyla Rose, and she exposed the turnbuckle like she did the other week. Nyla made a comeback, but then Rebel got on the apron. She got slammed on the apron for her troubles, and Rebel was back in the ring. Nyla hit a cannonball, but then you had Britt get the upper hand. She tried to put on the lockjaw, but Nyla was able to power out of it. Britt tried to put on the lockjaw again, but again, did not work. And Nyla hit the Beast Bomb. However, Britt Baker kicked out of it. Nyla hit a second Beast Bomb and picked up the win. Steve-O says Britt being eliminated by Rose is extremely disappointing, but the match was good. I wanted to see Britt Baker win the whole thing. I think Britt Baker should be the next champion, beat Shida for the title. I guess at this point, maybe Thunder Rosa would be my pick. But yeah, I was a little disappointed that Britt did not make it to the end and face Shida at the Revolution pay-per-view. To me, Britt should be the champ. But hey, that's just me. You got a lot of baby faces that could step up, whether it's Thunder Rosa, you got Serena Deeb, you got Layla Hirsch. You got a lot of people you could build up that could challenge Britt for the title. I think Shida as champion, it's run its course, in my opinion. We had a recap of the FTR storyline with Jurassic Express. Next week, we're going to have a 6-man match. Tully Blanchard's going to be wrestling. So, hey, Sting is wrestling. Tully Blanchard's wrestling. It's 60 is the new 30 in 2021. It's crazy. We had our main event match, Lance Archer versus Rey Fenix. Really good match here. This was a qualifying match for the ladder match that will be taking place at Revolution. And the winner of that ladder match will get a title shot at the TNT champion, Darby Allin. Before the match, there was footage shown from earlier when they were interviewed and things got heated. It turned into a brawl. Then we had the match. I guess in this match, Lance Archer was the heel. He recently turned babyface, but now he's a heel in this match. Jake Roberts was interfering, grabbing Phoenix's feet. And then Phoenix did this dive. He literally dove over Jake Roberts onto Archer. That was pretty cool. Went back and forth here a lot during the match. Phoenix was dominated for a while, but then he made a comeback. He did a really cool-looking springboard double stomp onto Archer. However, he kept trying to pick up Archer, but that backfired on him. However, Fenix kept coming back. He hit a cutter for a near fall, and then he hit a Spanish fly off the top for a near fall, which is a cool spot. The Spanish fly off the top looks really cool, but the problem is we see it all the time now, and Keith Lee did one a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago, with Drew McIntyre. So it's not really special anymore. Like, we see it all the time. Archer then came back, hit a pounce, hit a choke slam for a near fall, and then finally finished off Fenix with the blackout. And then after the match, turned it back babyface again. I guess this was a tribute to Big Show. You know, he was heel for this match. He turned face after the match, paying homage to the newest signing in AEW, the Big Show. Gave Fenix a fist bump, showing good sportsmanship after the match. Cleaver Colin Andrew says AEW was okay this week. I agree. You had two really good matches that I would recommend checking out. Main event, Archer and Fenix was really good. The women's match was really good. I liked the angle with Sting. There were some good things on this show, and there was some filler. So it was kind of a mixed bag for me this week. I would probably go with a C+ for this week's Dynamite. I mean, it still was not a bad show by any stretch, but if I had to compare it to all the Dynamites in history, it would definitely be in the bottom half of Dynamites, you know, maybe even the bottom third of Dynamites. But it was fine. It was a perfectly fine wrestling show on Wednesday night. Steve-O with a C+, Israel with a C, MVP Kev with a C+, and Martin Cruz with a C. Mohammed also gives the show a C. Nick Lavin with a B-. Steve-O says he thought Raw was better. Interesting. I think I gave Raw a C+ too. I'm not sure if I gave it a C+ or a B-, but Raw was fine this week too. And Kim Hall gives it a B-, and CC Drink and Dr. NXT Scorpio also give it a C+. So let's talk about the Adam Cole promo real quick, which was in the overrun, hence I was able to watch it. He came out and he acted very remorseful about what he did to Kyle O'Reilly, which was a storyline. Last week, people were concerned. A fan took pictures of O'Reilly being stretchered out, and some people thought maybe O'Reilly, because he's a type 1 diabetic, he had some kind of medical emergency, but it was just a storyline to get over Cole as a heel. And Cole talked about how he was not liking the man that he has become. He was upset about O'Reilly getting title matches and failing, but that did not excuse his actions. He said he's ashamed of what he did to O'Reilly, and he's going to try to fix things. Roderick Strong appeared and said that the Undisputed Era was built on trust. It was a brotherhood, and he just doesn't know if he can save Adam from Kyle once Kyle makes his return, which they announced he would be out for like 4 to 6 weeks, basically until after WrestleMania. I'm guessing WrestleMania, whether it's TakeOver or WrestleMania itself, we'll see Balor defend the title against Adam Cole. And speaking of Balor showed up. We had a fight break out, and Cole got the upper hand. He super kicked Balor, knocking him out cold. And then back in the ring, Roderick Strong punched Adam Cole, knocked him down, and Cole was very apologetic. He was sorry. He said he wants things to get back to normal. That's all he wants. Strong was feeling bad. He said he loves Cole. The two of them hugged, and then that son of a bitch, Cole with a low blow. He called Strong stupid, and then he took the UE dog collar, the necklace, and he ripped it off. I thought this was great. You know, this reminded me of Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan when Andre ripped off Hogan's crucifix. I thought this was a great angle. And then to put the final nail in the coffin, Cole super kicked Roderick Strong. This angle, I thought it was better than anything on Dynamite. So I feel justified with my C+ for Dynamite because this angle was awesome. This was great storytelling. Love the Adam Cole begging and being apologetic. And I felt like it was going to end up with him betraying Strong, but it was really well done. I really liked the segment a lot. Definitely worth going out of your way to check out. So yeah, good stuff from NXT. Did not see the rest of the show, so no comment on that. But I actually did see a little bit of the stuff with Karrion Kross and Santos Escobar, and basically it was a street fight. All of Escobar's guys were interfering, but Kross was still able to pick up the victory. I guess Kross is a babyface now. I think Kross needs to go to the main roster pretty soon. Just not sure what else he can do, especially if he's a babyface now. Maybe Cole beats Balor, and then it's Cole versus Kross for the title at some point. But yeah, I feel like Karrion Kross is one of those guys that he's not going to be in NXT for long. He's a guy he's built for the main roster. You just look at the guy. He looks like an ass-kicking machine. And you got Scarlett with him, so you got that package. I think he's going to be on the main roster pretty soon. Maybe there's no point in putting the title on him. Just fast-track him to the main roster. But yeah, at WrestleMania, I'm expecting Balor versus Cole for the title if they're not doing a takeover WrestleMania weekend, which I don't think they're going to do it. I feel like it's just going to be Balor versus Cole as a WrestleMania match, with WrestleMania being 2 nights. And I think they should. I think they should put that at WrestleMania with a crowd. And Josh Mansfield says they should save Io Shirai versus Toni Storm for Mania 2. Yeah, why not? I mean, you don't want to take up too many spots from the main roster guys, but you know, they'll do some kind of multi-person match, I'm sure, to get a lot of the main roster people on the WrestleMania card. I'm still arguing for Money in the Bank matches. One for the men on one night, one for the women on the other night. You can have maybe 3 Raw, 3 SmackDown, and 2 NXT for 8 competitors total. But yeah, I think WWE should do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania instead of doing the pay-per-view, which is in May, and you got WrestleMania in April. You might as well just do it at WrestleMania when you can have fans. So that's all my thoughts for Wednesday night. Very intrigued about the Big Show, and he's going to be on Dynamite next week. If you guys liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about both shows, what the highlight was, what the low point was. And subscribe, youtube.com/AaronRift, no DQ. Turn on the notification bell for any breaking news updates and when new videos are going up. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time. And wait a second. I almost forgot Oofman's super chat. So for any of you that have not clicked off yet, Oofman had sent in $5 on Monday as I was wrapping up. He said, speaking of Paige, she still has her Twitch channel up, and do you think she made some sort of agreement with WWE? You'd probably have to ask Paige that. I would think that she's not going to do anything that is against WWE's policy unless she wants to be fired. And the fact that she still works for WWE leads me to believe that maybe WWE is getting a cut of her Twitch channel. That is certainly a possibility. And it could be tricky with Paige because she had to retire due to injury. And I think it would be a bad look if WWE cut her because she can't wrestle. At least Zelina Vega had the option to wrestle. Paige did not. So yeah, with Paige doing that video several months back where she was really emotional, could be tricky waters. And maybe WWE did work out some kind of deal with her so she could keep her channel going, and maybe WWE got a cut of it, but I don't know. That's just speculation on my part. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.